I know that we are used to me giving Mr. Cage's thought of the day, but today is Mr. Cage's question of the day. And my question to you is, are you willing to do the work for your relationships on a personal and professional level to be healthy, for those relationships to evolve, for those relationships to grow? Personally, it can be in your immediate household, husband, wife, children, or relatives. On a personal level, it can be your employees, colleagues, business partners. This is a pivotal conversation because what occurs with us is when we find ourselves involved in a conflict situation, we find ourselves blaming others. And when we walk in blame, what we do is we take the responsibility of our own individual growth and development, and I give it to you. Nobody's responsible for my growth and development individually but me. Uno, nuno. What does doing the work mean? Doing the work means this. Am I in agreement with the work that's being done in me through conflict? It's a internal work. And so when I say internal work, what I'm saying is that we have value systems associated with our beliefs connected to our interpretation of experiences that we've had. Once we collect evidence and that evidence is proven to be factual or true, it becomes a part of our belief system and it gets ingrained in our psyche, the way that we see in terms of perception. But just because I have a belief system equates to a perception, producing actions and behaviors, does not mean that it's relevant. Some of the thoughts and some of the behaviors and paradigms and belief systems that we had have expired. They've reached an expiration date. They're outdated or they were fantasy from the beginning. In my life, in a romantic relationship context, I found myself in love, infatuated with the thought of being in a relationship or being married. That's fantasy. I was just in love with the thought of having a woman on my side, in love with the thought of all the amenities and all the benefits and features of being involved in a relationship. I went into relationships with that thought process, with that paradigm, thinking that this relationship is just going to be healthy, thinking that it's just going to happen. Not understanding that there's a level of sacrifice, there's a level of death to self in order to produce a healthy relationship, because relationships always involve at least two individuals. And those two individuals, in whatever context we want to frame it in terms of on a personal or professional level, those two contexts, each individual involved in that relationship has to be working for the best interest of us. We, not I, not me, not my, but us, we, and ours. So with me having that thought process and coming into a relationship and a romantic aspect with the thought of being in love, with the thought of being in a relationship, with the thought of and investing energy with the thought, I needed to invest more energy in the action. And the action was associated with the work, the personal growth and development that had to manifest or I had to experience to be ready to be in a relationship. People wait for the perfect time to be in a relationship, there is no perfect time. There's an opportune time, but there is no perfect time. But the opportune time to find yourself in a relationship, and I'm speaking now just in a romantic sense, the opportune time to be in a romantic relationship is going to manifest itself when we are faithful in the chronological sense. If I am intentional, if I am positioning myself, my mind, my perception to be changed, to be challenged in each interaction and experience or personal exchange that I'm having with individuals on a practical level, if I'm asking the questions of individuals that are in healthy romantic relationships, if I'm gleaning from the wisdom, if I'm not acting as though I know it all, because I don't, because I never had this experience, I will be ready when that opportune time presents itself. It won't be the perfect time. All the I's won't be dotted and all the T's won't be crossed, but I'll be prepared because I was willing to do the work and I was willing to accept the work that needed to be done internally within myself. So I could see myself in the right paradigm. I could see myself in the right image because, and I give you this last thought, that in some instances, our low self-esteem of ourselves does not allow us to get involved in the work that needs to be done to prepare us for the next phase of life. Because when conflict ensues between me and a person, if my self-esteem is low, I'm going to blame that individual for their part. See, I need to be responsible for my part and not be responsible for their part. And low self-esteem from my personal experience to you hit me as an only child because the world revolved around me because this was my environment. And I was affirmed. And in my mindset, I thought that I was always right. And when that transitioned into my adulthood, into relationships with women, whether it was on a personal level and whether it was on a professional level, I found myself trying to be right consistently, not understanding that other people have other experiences and other people have other perspectives. So my pattern of behavior produced exiting relationships, and until I had my mentor look and glean and take a view of my life outside of my own bias and pointed something out to me, I never knew. And I'm thankful to him to this day. Are we willing to do the work or ready to do the work? Or are we just going to be infatuated with the fantasy of being in a healthy relationship on a personal and professional level? It takes work. It takes grit. It takes getting in the dirt. It takes blood. It takes sweat, tears. It takes being sacrificial for the benefit, not of me, but for the benefit of us.